Hello, my name is Emma Reed. I'm an 8th grade math teacher, and this video is going to talk about using the Math Learning Center Numberline app. And I'm going to start just by describing how to use each of the buttons. So that way, if you want a video teaching students how to use this app, you can kind of chop off the beginning and end and use it with your kids. At the end, I'm going to discuss some ideas for using this with different topics in your classroom. So I'll start with all the buttons. You can see the bottom left button is just refreshes, so it gets rid of whatever work you've done and replaces it with a blank starting point again. This next button is where you decide whether you want the number line to display whole numbers and what your interval is going to count by, 1s, 2s, 5s, etc. Or you can make a custom interval here. You can also choose fractions with different unit fractions here. Decimals. You can have it be a numberless number line like this. Remove the ticks entirely. You can change the spacing here so that you're kind of zooming in and out. And then one thing that I found a little confusing at first when I first started using this number line was how to make it go into negative numbers. So I'm just going to refresh. And the way that you have the number line start in the negatives is just by changing the starting point. So if I wanted a number line that started at -20, there we go. I just have to set the starting point to a negative number right here. This next button is for adding hops. So when you're adding, you can click to create a positive hop going to the right, or if you click on the right hand side, you can drag it backwards to model subtracting or adding a negative number. And when you click it originally, it will not count the spaces that you're moving, how many units you've added or subtracted. But if you click this box with the 1 in it, it'll count the distance on the number line of the hop that you're creating. And then if you want to get rid of it, you're done with it, you can click the trash can button and that deletes whatever you've clicked on most recently. The next button here covers up all of the numbers. So if you wanted for some reason to just focus on, say, 14 and 22, then those would be the only numbers you would click, and those would be the only numbers visible. And again, if you want to go back to what you had before, you can click the refresh button, go back to the starting point, or clear everything that you did. The next button here is to plot something in between your interval on the number line. So when you click that button, you end up with this screen, and you can plot using some math symbols here. So let's say I wanted to show 5.5, even though this number line is counting by ones. I can drag what I just wrote and plot it between 5 and 6. I could also use this to show my answer to a question. Let's say I had 8 divided by 4, and I wanted to show my answer to that. I could drag that right over to on my number line. Let's get rid of that by clicking the trash can button. The next button allows you to cover up a section of the number line. And that was that button right here that looks sort of like a window hanging. And you can click the eye to make it transparent and then make it opaque again. The next option allows you to type with math symbols anywhere on the screen. And then there's a text box option. You can change the size up here. You can type anything. There we go. See, I make it smaller or larger. You can change the color. And that just allows you to annotate on the number line. And again, if I decide I don't want that there, I can just hit the trash can symbol. This next button with the pencil icon allows you to draw in different colors. So you can get a curved line with the top option. And that's something that you can get rid of either by clicking the eraser, and you can be a little precise there, or say I draw all over this and I want to clear it all because I made a mistake, you can click the bottom button and clear all drawing. The second pencil icon under annotate is a straight line. So if I needed a straight line, do that. And again, I can either erase like this with the second to bottom button or clear all drawing here at the bottom. And we can get rid of that annotation option. And now I'm going to just draw another example text box to demonstrate the duplicate button, which is right next to the pencil. If I click this duplicate button, where you see those two overlapping squares, it just gives me as many copies of my text box or any annotation that I would like. I can get rid of these again. And then the final two buttons, this is if someone else is sharing a number line with you and you have a code to enter, that'll allow you to see someone else's number line. And you can also share your own work, either as an image, by saving or copying the image, a link, or a code that you can give someone else. And finally, if I went a little fast for you, or if you just want to review, you can look at what each of the buttons do under that I symbol at the very far right. You can scroll down and see all of the different buttons and what they do. There are even shortcuts here, which I'll leave up for a moment in case you want to take a screenshot to add things to the number line without even using your mouse. And then you can also look at About for even more information here. So now that I've explained all of the functions of this number line and hopefully made you really interested in trying this with your students, I'll just introduce some ideas for how you could use this in the classroom. So one option is to use this as a tool for differentiation. So you could teach students how to use this number line and have them model their thinking on the number line. I've noticed especially that it's very helpful to have the number line as a model for students who struggle with addition and subtraction of integers. This is also really useful in the irrational numbers unit as students are trying to plot the square root or cube root of numbers on the number line. They can always use the text box and the math symbol box to annotate to show where those numbers would be, and they can always add a text box to share their thinking. So that's one option, teach students how to use the number line and they can show their thinking there. It's also a really helpful tool for teaching, especially this option to cover up sections that you don't want to talk about yet and then reveal them as needed. That's very helpful. It can also be helpful if you want a specific type of number line, like let's say you were talking about decimals and you especially wanted to talk about quarters on the number line. You could prepare a number line in advance and decide wherever you want to start. And then if you share the link or the code with students, then they can go straight to the number line that you want them working on for a specific lesson. I hope that it was helpful to learn about this app and consider some different ways to use it. Thank you for joining me and enjoy the rest of your day.